Welcome back to the channel. Tonight, and yes, it's night again. I'm still crunching for this car show on this weekend. But I need an alternator to work to keep my spark nice and hot, because my spark is pretty weak right now. So this alternator right here, somebody was trying to convert this to a 12 volt system by just putting a 12 volt battery and 12 volt alternator in it and assuming it'd be okay. Which is why I've got to replace a lot of melted wires in the system. Well, right here, this is a 1-wire 10SI alternator, which is lucky for me because I can turn it into a 6-volt 1-wire alternator. It's self-exciting. And I'm going to show you how to do it. It's pretty straightforward. You have to get one of these. This is a 6-volt self-exciting regulator, part number D10SE6. I'll put this down there in the comments. And I believe I don't remember where I got this one. I know you can get them off eBay. And they cost anywhere from $14 to $40, depending on where you buy them from. But this is pretty straightforward, because first thing you do is you take these 4 bolts out of your alternator case. There's nothing to really be scared of in an alternator. They're pretty simple. Okay. Oh, you know, I ought to take that pulley off just to make my life easier when this all comes apart. And to avoid taking my fingers off, we're going to do this. That's the easy way to take one of these off. Little spacer washer if you've got a washer. And this looks like the pulley and fan off of the original generator, so it's very specific to this vehicle. Big wide belt and everything. So let's just get these bolts out real quick. Get these 4. And these are 5/16 head. I'll try to tell you what sizes you need as I go through here. But you'll need 5/16 for these. That one's a little snug, so okay. Get that one tossed out of the way. Well, this one's being obstinate. Okay. There they go. And here's the magic. Plate comes off. That little spacer always wants to fall out too, so we'll put it back. Just rides on the bearing right there. Alright. Then you got this in here. The stator will come right out. Now, of course, there's where the brushes ride. We ought to clean that up. And, of course, the brushes blow out. Now, I'll show you how you actually put those back in here in a minute. Okay. Let me get you back over here where you can see more what I'm doing. Alright. Now, if you look down in here, you got these 3 nuts right here. And those are going to be the 11/32. Don't ask me why they went with 11/32, but they did. And see, this little wire right here is your self-exciter wire. So we're going to make sure to put that in place. Now, this is a negative ground car, so we don't have to do anything special there. If it was a positive ground, we would actually have to change the voltage regulator to a positive ground voltage regulator. But since this is negative ground, our life's easy. And that lifts out of there. There's your coils. And I'm losing one of my brush springs. We don't want to lose that. Now, we got to take these off. These are the hold down bolts. Break them all loose. You notice these two have insulation on them. Make sure if you have an insulated bolt, put it back where you got it from. Okay. There's that, and there's the exciter wire. There's the other insulated bolt. Alright. Get that out. Put the spring in the brush holder. And I'll show you how you have to load that here in a minute. You load that in a very specific way. Now, let me go ahead and pop the cap off. Now, I'm sure as long as this one's set around, we will have to kick off the self-exciting again. But we'll show you that once it's in the car. Won't be tonight. But I will show you how to do that. Otherwise, it's not likely to start charging right away. Okay. And that little dude comes off right there. At least I think this is a self-exciting version. Well, if it doesn't self-excite, we know we can excite from the pins, so it will be fine. We'll just wire this up as a 3-wire alternator, which is my preference anyway, because that way I can make the charging light on the dash work. Okay, let's load these brushes up real quick. Get these springs back down in here. So we'll just convert this to a 3-wire alternator and call it good. All right. What you do, because the brushes are going to sit just like that. This is the back side. So usually you have to take a screwdriver to get the first one started. You push it all the way in. Get this little piece of wire in across the first one. And then push the second one in. Then you can just use your piece of wire to lay on top of it and push out through that hole. And what this is going to do, there's a little hole right here in the back of this case. And you're able to take it. Let me get this thing all in the right spot. There we go. And you can take that wire, line it up with that hole, just like that. That way the wire is sticking out right here. So when you put everything together, you can slide this wire out, your brushes will drop right on. So let's put this bolt in. And we'll get this bolt back in its little hole. Let's switch over to my quarter driver, which I've misplaced. Like I say, we're just going to make this a nice little 3-wire alternator. It will work. As soon as I find my quarter. There we go. We just need to get Alright, and since we're not going to use this self-exciting jumper, I'm going to go ahead and pull that out of there. Let's not take any chances that it shorts out to something. And this is, in case you're wondering, a 1/2-inch socket. See, because what this little thing is a jumper to the positive post over here on this side. And if you have the self-exciting one, it's going to sit there and have a little feed that magnetizes this. What we're going to have to do is we're going to actually have to hook up terminal 1 and 2 up here, the battery and accessory terminal, and just run it as a 3-wire. That's the only real difference between a 1-wire and a 3-wire, is this over here, this voltage regulator is slightly different. Let's get that off of there. Okay. Then we put this back down where we found it. There should be a little capacitor in here. It should be good. I've never seen one of them bad. Okay. Let's put these over here. We're going to just put this in the bag because this is a perfectly good 12-volt regulator. Okay. Now then, all you got to do is take your coils. Let's line them up right there. See right there? You have all these three pins right there. And now if you're me, you try very hard not to drop these. Because I always drop them in a spot where I just cannot get them back. Back to our 11:30 seconds. Let's spin this down. Spin that down. Spin that one down. Okay. Alright. That's hooked up to our rectifier. At least I'm going to spray a little bit of electronic cleaner on this. Clean this up just a hair because it's pretty dirty. Alright, it doesn't look too bad. Okay. Now then, on this wire, push it on down till it's almost out, but keep those brushes contained. You want to take this and get it to seat in its bearing back there in this bearing pocket. Now don't pull that wire yet, because if you do, you will pull this out. I do it every time. Wouldn't be my first time to screw it up. Alright, so I want this to be at the bottom. I'm clocking. You can clock these a little bit. See, I want this and this to be right up here at the top of my alternator. And I know this sits like this in the engine compartment, so I need this to clock out just like that. That way I can get to this. Because if you goof up, you can put this on the bottom. That's not as useful. I seem to have my coil a little bit out of alignment. Just a hair. Hang on. Don't want to lose that wire. Okay. There we go. My coil was a little bit out of alignment. Wasn't letting my bolts go in. Come on. There we go. Alright, back to there. And that's nice and easy to get to. Okay. Oh, that's much better. Pro tip: align up your coils a little bit better than I did. Do as I did the second time. Maybe the third time. I haven't got this together completely yet. Okay. We're on the home stretch now. In case you wonder, that's terminal 1 and that's terminal 2. And of course, this is the main battery terminal. Alright, once you get this together, oh yeah, that's nice and smooth. Then you go, and that lets the brushes drop down that commutator. Okay, that looks good. Now you have your little bearing spacer right here that gets this outside. And put your washer on here. Figure out why that doesn't want to cooperate. Apparently redo your alignment 2 or 3 times. I think you got a little bit of a burr. Oh, there we go. Now we're back to working. There's a little bit of burr. Oh yeah. See how it's spinning without that spinning? Now we're back in business. But now as soon as I take this off and turn the fan around the right way, we're back in business. Okay. This is what happens when you get tired. You do dumb things. It's probably why things weren't fitting. That's an excellent technique, though, for getting something apart without just beating the crap out of it. Oh, look at that. It fits a lot better the right direction. That's enough. I'm counting that as doing it 3 times. Usually, if I do something 3 times, I finally get it right. So, see, 3rd time trying to put the nut on. I got it right. Okay. Let's put this in here. Okay. Alright, that's a big wide pulley there too. That takes a big 3/4 inch belt. Which I got a brand new one out there. I guess that's all I have for tonight. But that's how you convert a 12 volt positive ground negative ground alternator to a 6 volt negative ground alternator. And that should work perfect. And we did convert the 3-wire to a 1-wire to a 3-wire, just because that's the regulator I had. Hey, when you're trying to find a 6 volt voltage regulator, you're not that picky. But this little cap right here, that you'll find those in the 1-wires. What this is for is so you can take it off and you can put the pin 1 to the battery terminal while the car's running to kick off the initial charge, because that little stator in the middle has to have a residual magnetic field to excite. And on a self-exciting, if it sits too long, you know, a year or 2 on the shelf, it won't have anything to self-excite with. So you can jumper it and get the self-excite kick back off. But in our case, that's not going back on there because we're going to be using terminals 1 and 2 to actually excite this and have a charge light in the vehicle. So, that's a 6 volt alternator. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Until next time, we're going to make that car run before this car show.